It seems like everywhere you turn these days, automation is making headlines.
Yeah.
And everyone's talking about how it's shaking up the job market left and right.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but it's kind of unsettling. Like the rules of the game are changing, and what worked yesterday might not cut it tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. It's easy to feel like you're constantly playing catch up, right?
Yeah,
Trying to stay ahead of the curve before it disappears entirely.
exactly. And it's not just a feeling, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing the impact all around us.
Yeah, the data is definitely there to back it up, which is why I think this new white paper we're diving into today is so timely.
For sure, for sure.
It's from EON Reality, and it's called Learn, Train, Perform for Future Skills, Jobs, and Income.
Catchy title.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I think it really captures the essence of what they're trying to address, which is, how do we prepare for this future of work that's already upon us? How do we make sure we're not left behind?
Right, and that's exactly what we're here to unpack today in this deep dive.
Mm-hmm.
We want to go beyond the headlines and really dig into the insights of this white paper. Figure out, what are the core problems they're highlighting? What are the solutions they're proposing? And most importantly, what does all this mean for you, the listener?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's what matters, right? How can this information help you navigate your career, your skills, your income in a world that's changing faster than ever?
Exactly. So no distractions today. It's all about this EON Reality white paper. Let's dive in.
All right, so right out of the gate, the white paper jumps into a pretty big issue, and they frame it within the context of this thing. You hear a lot about the Fourth Industrial Revolution.
Right.
And it's not just about shiny new tech gadgets. It's this fundamental shift in how industries work, how jobs are structured.
Yeah.
And it's driven by this, this interconnected web of technologies like AI automation, all that good stuff.
The good stuff, some people might say, the scary stuff.
Well, yeah, it depends on how you look at it, right?
Yeah.
But the point is it's disruptive. And within this revolution, they're highlighting this growing disconnect between the way we traditionally educate people and the actual needs of the modern workforce.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just that new jobs are being created, although there's plenty of that too.
Right.
It's that the skills needed for jobs that have been around forever, those are changing rapidly too.
Exactly. And they really drive home this urgency with a pretty startling statistic.
Oh yeah, that number jumps out at you.
It does. They say automation could potentially threaten up to 300 million jobs globally by 2030.
300 million.
It's a huge number.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
And it really just underscores the scale of adaptation that we're talking about here.
Yeah.
And the paper argues that our traditional education systems, while, they have their place, they often struggle to keep pace with this kind of breakneck change.
Yeah, they weren't built for this speed.
Exactly. The skills you might be learning in school today might be obsolete in a few years.
Right. So if the traditional ways of, learning and preparing for work are facing this kind of existential crisis, what's the alternative? What does this white paper offer?
Okay, so this is where I think EON Reality's perspective gets really interesting because they're not just pointing out the problem, they're actually presenting their technologies as a solution, as a way to proactively, and they argue sustainably, address this challenge. So they're not content with just being an educational tech company. They're striving for something they call a comprehensive life solution.
Comprehensive life solution. That's a pretty big claim.
It is, but they break it down into these 3 interconnected pillars, each focused on a different aspect of navigating this future we're talking about.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for us.
All right, so pillar number 1 is phrased as learn, train, perform for future skills. And this one leans heavily on their AI-driven EON XR platform.
Okay, so this is where the immersive learning stuff comes into play.
Exactly.
So when they talk about building future skills with this platform, what kind of results are they claiming? Are we talking incremental improvements or something more transformative?
No, they're actually making some pretty bold claims here. The white paper suggests their platform can accelerate learning by as much as 4 times.
Wow, 4 times.
Yeah, and boost retention by something like 30 to 60%.
That's significant.
It is, and the core idea is that by immersing learners in these virtual simulations, they can bridge the gap between, just understanding a concept and actually being able to apply it.
Right. You're not just reading about it. You're doing it even if it's in a virtual space.
Exactly. It's about making that connection between knowledge and action.
Yeah, it makes me think of, the difference between reading a book about riding a bike and actually getting on a bike and falling a few times.
Exactly. Experience is the best teacher, right? Even if that experience is virtual.
So that's future skills. What's the next pillar in this comprehensive life solution puzzle?
Okay, so pillar number 2 is learn, train, perform for Joe BS. And this is where their AI-powered career development mentor comes in.
Okay, so I'm picturing like a superpowered guidance counselor. Is that on the right track?
Yeah, kind of, but think more like a personalized career advisor, but one that's powered by AI so it can process massive amounts of data about the job market and tailor its guidance to your specific skills and goals.
So it's not just about learning new skills in isolation. It's about understanding which skills are actually in demand and how to connect your abilities to real opportunities out there in the world.
That's it. That's it. The career development mentor is all about analyzing your current skills, identifying any gaps based on what employers are looking for, and then mapping out a customized learning path to help you fill those gaps.
Okay, so it's almost like having a personal career strategist in your pocket.
Exactly. And the goal is to make career navigation more data-driven, more personalized, and ultimately more successful.
I love it. It takes the guesswork out of the equation. No more blindly sending out resumes and hoping for the best.
Exactly. It's about being strategic and intentional with your career development.
So we've got future skills, we've got job matching. What's the third piece of this comprehensive approach?
All right, so the third pillar is learn, train, perform for income. And this is where they shift gears a bit from traditional employment and start focusing on empowering individuals to create their own income streams through entrepreneurship.
Oh, interesting. So not just finding a job, but potentially creating your own job, creating your own business.
Exactly. And their AI-powered entrepreneur guide is designed to support that journey.
Okay, I'm all ears. Tell me more about this guide.
So they lay it out as this accessible step-by-step process with 8 key stages.
8 stages, okay.
And it takes you all the way from the initial brainstorming phase, like identifying your passions, figuring out what kind of business you might be good at, to developing and launching market-ready solutions.
So it's the whole 9 yards from idea to execution.
Exactly. And the goal here is to promote economic self-sufficiency, especially in light of potential job displacement due to, all this automation we've been talking about.
Right. It's like a safety net, but it's also an opportunity, right? To take control of your own destiny.
Absolutely. It's about empowerment and agency.
So we've covered the why, the what, the changing job market, the 3-pronged solution. Now let's get into the how. What's the underlying approach here? What are the key technologies that make this vision a reality?
Okay, so the how is rooted in a combination of cutting-edge AI and what they call a democratized content creation approach.
Democratized content creation.
Yeah.
I like the sound of that. What does that actually mean in practice?
So the idea is to empower subject matter experts, people who are really knowledgeable in their fields, to create these immersive learning experiences without needing to be, coding wizards.
So you don't need a degree in computer science to build a virtual reality training program.
Exactly. It's about making this technology accessible to the people who have the knowledge to share.
Right, because ultimately they're the ones who know what needs to be taught.
Precisely. And the white paper highlights a few key tech components that make this possible. One is AI-driven content creation and delivery.
Okay, tell me more about that.
So they talk about using natural language interfaces so you can basically tell the system what kind of virtual content you need.
Okay.
And the AI helps generate the necessary 3D models, the interactive elements, all that stuff.
Wow. So it's like having a virtual assistant that builds your training programs for you.
In a way, yeah. And this can drastically reduce the time it takes to create these learning materials.
Oh, I bet, because traditionally that stuff can take forever, right?
Oh, yeah. Months or even years sometimes.
And they're saying this can cut it down to hours.
They claim it can, yeah. Which is a huge game changer.
Absolutely. What else are they using besides this AI-powered content creation?
Another important element is avatar-guided learning experiences.
Okay, now we're talking. So these are simulations where virtual avatars act as instructors or guides, right?
Right. And the thinking is that avatars can make the learning process more engaging, more personalized.
I can see that it's like having a dedicated tutor who never gets tired.
Yeah. And they can provide tailored feedback and support to each learner.
That's really cool. And what about the 360-degree virtual career exploration they mentioned? What's that all about?
Okay, so these are fully immersive simulations that let you experience different professions firsthand.
Oh, wow. So, like, I could be a surgeon for a day without, the whole life and death thing.
Exactly. Or you could work on an assembly line in a virtual factory, whatever you're interested in.
I love it, like a test drive for your career.
Exactly. And it can help people make more informed decisions about their career paths, before they invest a ton of time and money in a certain field.
Yeah, that's huge because so often people end up in careers they hate because they had no idea what they were getting into.
It happens all the time. And these simulations can help prevent that.
So we've looked at the challenges, the proposed solutions, the technology behind it all. Now the white paper also shares some real-world examples of where these technologies are already making a difference, right?
It does. They have some really compelling case studies from different sectors.
Okay, let's hear them. What kind of impact are they seeing out there in the wild?
Well, in healthcare education, for example, they've observed dramatic improvements in clinical skills training.
Okay, so like doctors and nurses learning how to do their jobs better.
Exactly. And not just better, but faster. They're seeing a significant reduction in errors. They cite up to 87% in some cases.
Wow, 87%. That's incredible. And when you think about the stakes in healthcare, that's really significant, right?
Absolutely. It's potentially saving lives.
Yeah, it's not just about efficiency, it's about patient safety.
For sure, for sure. And they've also seen a rise in graduate employment rates, which suggests that these skills are translating into real-world job opportunities.
Makes sense. What about other industries? Have they seen similar results?
Yeah, in advanced manufacturing, they talk about rapid workforce upskilling.
So like getting factory workers up to speed on the latest technologies.
Exactly. And they say this has led to significant decreases in production downtime and increased quality compliance.
Ah, so it's a win-win. Companies save money and produce better products.
Yeah, exactly. And they've also got some interesting examples from the world of STEM education, especially in underserved communities.
Okay, so bringing high-quality STEM education to places that might not have access to it.
That's the idea. And they've seen substantial increases in student proficiency and career readiness.
That's fantastic, because we need more people going into STEM fields, right?
Yeah.
And everyone deserves a chance to succeed.
Absolutely. And the last use case they highlight ties back to that third pillar we talked about, the income generation piece.
Right, the AI-powered entrepreneur guide. What are they saying about the impact of that?
So they're seeing their platform help people launch entrepreneurial ventures leveraging AI technologies.
So people are actually building businesses using these tools.
They are, and they're creating sustainable livelihoods even in sectors that are being heavily disrupted by automation.
So it's not just about surviving the future of work, it's about thriving in it.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your economic destiny.
So as we wrap up here, what's the big picture takeaway from this deep dive into EON Reality's white paper? What's the overarching message they're trying to convey?
I think the key takeaway is that this integrated approach they're proposing represents a fundamental shift in how technology can support education, employment, and entrepreneurship. It's not just about incremental improvements. It's about creating this dynamic ecosystem where learning directly fuels career opportunities and income generation.
Think about closing the gap between education and the real world, right?
Exactly. And their ultimate goal is to contribute to greater global economic equity.
So for you, the listener, the big takeaway is the potential of these immersive AI-driven solutions to address some of the biggest challenges we face in this rapidly changing world.
It's about preparing for the future of work, ensuring your job security, and exploring new avenues for income.
And it's not just a pipe dream. It's already happening out there in the real world.
Exactly. And that brings up a really important question for you to consider. How might these technologies intersect with your own learning goals, your current career path, or even your aspirations for starting something new? How could you leverage these tools to navigate this evolving landscape and really thrive in it?
It's something to think about for sure. And if you're interested in exploring this further, you can download the full white paper, Learn, Train, Perform for Future Skills, Jobs, and Income.
We'll include a link in the show notes.
Absolutely. And for even more in-depth discussions and insights, you can check out EON Reality's own podcast and their EON XR spoken blog.
They go into a lot more detail there.
So as AI and immersive technologies continue to evolve at this incredible pace, we leave you with this final thought. How might you proactively embrace these tools, not just to adapt to the future, but to shape it, to create the future you want for yourself, and contribute to this exciting but always evolving economic landscape?
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you next time.